It basically started with me. I'm a truck driver and I drive Arctics, and I used to go over the water, and that was the first time I noticed it. I'd gone abroad, and when you do a delivery and that, if you're on time, you're okay. If you're too early for a job, 15 minutes, you can get fined. If you're 15 minutes late, you can get fined. And when I turned up at this job, I was about 30 minutes early. I said, "You all right, mate?" He said, "Yeah." And I went in, and I think it was in France or somewhere, and I went to come and do delivery, and he went, No, monsieur. He says, time. And I went, "Oh, it's okay, I'll park up." No, he says, "End of the queue." And there was about 20 trucks behind me. And I thought, if I get to the end of the queue, I'm going to be late and I'm going to get fined anyway. So I said, "Let me pay the fine now and just tip me, and it's job done." And he says, No. I said, "Fair enough then. I'm hungry anyway. I'm going to get some food. I love food. So I'm going to get some food." So I drove out of there, went to park up. I went to find a cafe. I found this cafe. I sat in there and I had the fantastic breakfast. Brilliant breakfast. And I remember having this breakfast and I'm thinking, well, I've given him about 40 minutes now, it's about right. I'll get back there, I'll be 2 hours late, roughly, after he's tipped me, pay the fine, then go on to my next drop, not a problem. As soon as I come out of the cafe, I'm watching the people walking about and the sound of the cars and the bipping of the horns and that, and I just lost the plot. I just completely lost it. I had no idea where my truck was parked. I couldn't remember then if I was driving a Scania, a Volvo or a DAF. I didn't know what type of truck I was in. And then it got so bad then I'm thinking, hold on a minute, what kind of truck am I looking for? What kind of trailer am I looking for? And it went on and on, it got worse and worse and worse. And I kept trying to backtrace everything and I couldn't. There was no switch off, there was no find this quiet area. I just couldn't find anywhere. And I kept going round and round in circles, and I'm outside, I'm walking around thinking, oh, come on, you must know. But no. And then I'm thinking, right, I've got to find my truck because I'm going to be into trouble. Who do I work for? Come on, what's the name of the firm? And this went on and on, and it just got worse. I had no idea of my name, I had no idea who I worked for. And the more I got, I think it was anxiety, and the more I got frustrated in that, the worse I got. And then eventually, I found a taxi driver, and I tried to explain to him, I remember coming in roundabout, I called them donuts. Every time you come in, there's so many donuts and so many low bridges and that, and I told him, yeah, and I get into his cab, I'm driving around for about half an hour, and there's my truck. And I went, thank you, so I paid him, got to my truck, there was like 90 missed calls on my phone, and I knew 89 of them are from Tina. And I thought, right, my boss will be wanting to know what's happened and all this lot. So I thought, ring the boss first. So I rung Tina up. I said, yeah, where are you? So I said, say it to her, I don't know. She goes, what do you mean? I said, I haven't got a clue where I am. I said, hold on a minute, and I'm looking around trying to get my bearings, and I says, I don't know. I'm in Spain. She goes, no, you're France. I said, oh, I'm in France then, yeah. She says, do you know whereabouts? I said, no. She said, what's wrong with you? I says, I don't know. I said, seriously, I had no idea. I says, and then I forgot her name, because it was just menu 1 on the phone to ring her. And I went, I don't know, and I'm looking, I'm going, I've not been drinking, I don't drink alcohol or anything, I don't take drugs and that. She goes, I know. And I says, I forgot your name. She goes, what? I said, I forgot your name. She says, you're joking me, aren't you? I said, no. She says, right, it's Tina. I said, right, okay, yeah, got it, Tina, right. And we went through this scenario, and I could tell by her voice that she's in tears on the other end of the phone. And I'm explaining everything, and I said, look, I think I'm going to call it quits, I'm going to come back home. I get to Calais, get back home, I'm going to go to doctors. I said, there's something wrong. I can't work things out. I said, I don't know what I've done previously and things like that.
I was worried, I was concerned, because I thought, well, he's gone out there and he's saying he doesn't know who he is or where he is, so how's he going to find his way back? Hopefully. I thought, well, there'll be somebody there, but like a little while later he rung me back, and it sort of come back, and he realised who he was, where he was, who he worked for. And so then, like I say, he made his way back and he got back home. We made an appointment with the doctor, and he came back with the good old, you're depressed, you work 100 hours a week, you're stressed, you're this, you're that. So he said, I'm not depressed. He said, I'm the happiest person. No, you're depressed. So we just went out of the office. He's the professional, he knows. And so we left it a few more years. But then it got to a stage where he was constantly repeating himself. Just little things. He'd say, like, what day is it? What time is it? And like, after the 20th time we've asked him this, I think, if he says that one more time. And so I just said, look, we're going back to see one of the other doctors in the practice. And we went to one of the younger doctors. And within 10 minutes of being in the office, he stated, "I'm referring you straight to memory clinic." And he said, "There is a problem." And that's where the journey started. We went to the memory clinic. We went through all the assessments. They came out to the house to assess Terry. He had MRIs, he had CAT scans, he had all the rigmarole. And we got an appointment with Dr. Singh to go and see him for the results on the 6th of May in 2014, a past 10-hour appointment. So we went in there, and I knew there was a problem, but I come from a nursing background, so I just thought, it's nothing major, it'll be sorted. But then to be told that you've got early onset Alzheimer's at the age of 56, it's like I'd been hit with a hammer. I just couldn't handle it. I just broke down. Terry was relieved that he got a diagnosis, that thank God I'm not going mad. But then on the way home, it was, how do we tell our 3 grown-up sons? Very, very hard. We did tell them, they all took it differently. And the majority of our family live in Blackpool, so we contacted them, got them all together, and we just told them as one lump sum. I thought, I'm not ringing round everybody. So we got mixed reactions there. Some were sort of just really stunned and shocked, some just cried. And we've just taken it from there, really.
When I came back, I had a mortgage to pay, and like Tina said, we hid it for a while, and I had a mortgage to pay, I had children growing up, and I said to her, we're not going to say nothing, because this depression scenario, because we went through it. She says, yeah. I said, it's not depression. She goes, no. I knew there was something wrong, but we couldn't put our finger on it, so we hid it. And so I was going to work, and my boss knew, and he was a good boss, and he said to me, I'd worked for him for about 18 years or something, and he said to me, look, I'll put you on the UK. Stay on the UK. I said, there's something wrong with you upstairs. He went, no, it's all right. I'll put you on the UK. You'll do the same thing every single night. Nothing will change. Do it by rote. I said, yeah, okay. And he was right. He stuck to his words. I used to go to work at the same time, park my car in the same place, get in my cab, write the tachograph out, pick a double-decker up, and I was loaded with explosives, seriously. And I had to run all the way to London, do my delivery, reload, come back, and that was it. And I did the same thing every single night, and nothing changed unless, now this is where the difference happened, because it was night time, Tina had to get a laptop. And then what happened was, if there was a diversion or any kind of confusion on the roads for me, I'd just press menu 1, rings Tina up, whether it's 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. She'd go, yeah. I said, they're taking me off I used to call it the Mickey 6, M6 model. I said, taking me off the Mickey 6 at junction whatever 14. She goes, yeah. They're sending me on a diversion. Can you check see if there's any low bridges? So she'll check for low bridges. She said, no, carry on. She'll send me all the way through like Wolverhampton somewhere, back onto Mickey 6 and home, and make sure I got home safe. And that's what we did on a regular basis, wasn't it?
We did.
And so we had to hide it like that. And then a couple of blokes at work had the same name, and I was rubbish at names, and I could pick out trucks and what they drove and that. So I give everybody a nickname. It was easy for me to have my own library of names for them. And there was one chap, he was huge, absolutely huge, but there was a few of them called, I think he was called Paul, and there was a few Pauls. And because I worked with Paul number 2, I had to give him a nickname so I could remember who he was. And so because he had large ears, I called him Wingnut. And he heard about this afterwards, and he come up to me, and he's massive, and he went, what are you calling me Wingnut for? Is it because of my ears? And I went, yeah. He says, what? I said, no, seriously. I said, I think it's a fantastic name for such a big guy. I said, and we can use it on the CBs, because we had CBs. I said, you can use it on the CB as a good handle. And he went, oh, okay then. And he stuck with it. And so for 5 years, he was Wingnut. And in fact, me and him became like this, became really close. And so he was like my sidekick. And so whenever I used to go into the canteen and all the drivers would turn up there, they'd say, oh, do you remember that run you did at so-and-so, so-and-so? I have no idea what I did yesterday, let alone what I did 2 weeks ago. So rather than embarrass myself and that, I used to say, oh, do you want a drink? And I knew 50-free was coffee out of the machine, so I used to put 20p and get 50-free and give him a coffee. And then I'd say, ask Wingnut, he's done it. And I used to give Wingnut everything. I used to pass it all on to Wingnut and then just buy everybody brews. And I hid it that way for ages. And then one day, it was like, we was loading it double-decker and we were doing some roping and sheeting. And I was just finishing roping and sheeting before setting off with explosives. And one of the drivers was helping me, called Jim. He turned round and he says, I'll get you a brew, Barry. And I went, yeah, okay, mate. And as
Barry, it was Al.
Al, that was it, Al. I'll get you a brew, Al. So I said, yeah, okay. And I carried on strapping up and I went, Al? Why the hell's he called me Al? It's Terry. So I went into the canteen to see him. I says, and I'm taking brew off him. I says, it's Terry. I says, you nutter. I says, it's not Al. He said, no, it's short for Alzheimer's. I says, that's not very nice. He said, ah, right, you know what I mean. And I went, yeah, right. And now, when I got diagnosed with it, he's scared of talking to me. He's drifted away. And I thought, I've got to meet him, I've got to talk to him and tell him it's not his fault and all this lot. And it was only because of Wingnut was getting married, he turned up at Wingnut's wedding. And I went up to him, and he was bright red-faced, and I went up to him, I shook his hand, I says, you can't catch it, mate. It'll not rub off to you. I'm still Terry. You know, I've just got a problem with hard drive. And he went, I felt so guilty when I called it, yes. It doesn't matter. I hugged him, and we became, you know, good mates again, and we kept in touch, didn't we, ever since. So we've done all right.
I'm going to say, when we met Penny Folds from Lancaster University, she was the one that actually mentioned about research.
Definitely.
Which was absolutely great. So we inquired about that, and we went down to Mac Clinic, and we were both interviewed. And so Terry actually started the trial, and he went and he had the CT scans, the MRI scans and everything, and they was great all the way through, because you don't get this on the NHS. Once you've got your diagnosis, it's bye, down the road. So he did all the scans and everything. Luckily for us, but not for them, they says Terry hadn't progressed enough, so he had to just continue the trial. So we says, okay. Then he started another trial earlier on in the year, and he went through the same scenario. We're interviewed and everything, did MRIs, CAT scans, lumbar puncture, absolutely everything. And the same thing was, sorry, you're not far enough progressed. Yes, yeah. Which we were happy about. I would say to anybody at all, if they're worried about anybody, relative, friend or neighbour, send them to a doctor to just get a check, because it could be something or nothing. But if you have had that diagnosis, research is the way to go, because it keeps you informed of absolutely everything. It gives you that. We would have been worrying how far has Terry gone. I mean, I've not seen any major changes in Terry, but that's just on the outside, and I haven't got a clue what's going on up there. So this way, we do know that there's no significance, because they said to you, whatever you're doing, keep doing.
Yeah. I think I'll just jump in. Yeah. The weirdest thing is, once you get your diagnosis, you're given two forms. One's your power of attorney, and the other's your will. And I went, I'm 56. And I thought, that can't be it. And they said, yeah. And I said, no. And they said, yeah, that's it. And I said, well, what's in between? They said, nothing. And I said, there must be something in between. They said, there isn't. And I went, well, how long have I got? They said, I don't know. And I said, I need to put my house in order. I've got 3 grown-up boys now. I need to sort things out. They said, right. And it was only since I met Penny, then we went on the trials and that, they told me the results. When I went for my MRI scan, when I went for a CT scan, they told me the results. They told me about these amyloids in your brain and how they were doing and progressing. And I could follow the route of it and know. I know about putting my house in order and everything else and making sure Tina's okay and the boys are okay. And I thought, I can follow it. There's no way I could have done it any other way. You know, and I said, is it naughty of me doing this? And she said, no. She says, it's brilliant of you. If more people knew this, they wouldn't be scared and they'd go on trials and that. And I said, well, that's what they should do. Instead of least you know.
Instead of me worrying, thinking, oh, is he going to wake up next week thinking, who's this person? I know that we've got years in front of us, because he's been on the trial. So recommend, if you can go on a trial, go on Definitely. The trials. It's peace of mind for Terry, but it's also peace of mind for me, and it's peace of mind for our sons and the family, that they know that Dad's fine.
The only fear I've got is I'm claustrophobic, and so I went, the way I see it is the MRI scan, I class it as a smarty tube. And so I says to him, is it the smarty tube? And she stared at me. She says, what do you mean? I says, is it the one where you go inside a tube and you're all squashed and that? And she went, no. I said, okay. She says, the bigger one. And says, like the polo mint. She goes, yeah. And I went, oh, okay. And I went all the way down there, and as soon as I walked in, it was a smarty tube. And my heart was pounding like mad, and I thought, I'm going to be really nervous and really scared over this. And I thought, well, I've got to do it. So I went in, I'm lying there, and I thought, well, this lady will help me. And I said to this lady, she'd give me the buzzer and that. And I says, will I be okay? She goes, look, if you've got any problems, just touch the side, do that, and you come straight out. I said, seriously? She goes, yeah. And I said, right, okay. So I went in, I panicked for a few minutes once my head had disappeared. And then and I could see my feet. And I thought, I could see my feet, I could hear the radio, everything's fine. And then 30 minutes passed, and I'd done the MRI scan. And I come out and I went, yes, I did it. Had the CT scan, which is a polo mint, which is awesome. And then I had all the others and that lot, and I thought, I can do anything. You know, once I've got my fear pass, I'd do anything. And now, even on the second try, it didn't bother me. And I just went through it. And I thought, I don't think they can give me anything now that I'm scared of or anything, or there's any hiccups or any pain or anything. So I just went for everything. And basically, you get delivered, you get fed, and you get the job done. That's it. That's what matters, you know. Well, I told my boss, once I got the results and everything, he said, well, run it down, Tell. I said, right, okay. And luck would have it was bad luck for him, my boss. He went bankrupt. And so he warned me a week before he was going bankrupt and that. And he says, I've hit the wall, mate. I said, seriously? He says, yeah. I says, right, well, I'm sorry. I shook everybody's hand. I got the warning of it, which was no good for me because I wasn't going back to work. But I managed to wing up. And said to our fellow drivers, they all went on. I left there and I went working Irish, doing Irish work. And I started going over the water to Ireland, coming back. But they were so fierce. They didn't know about me. I didn't tell them. And it was like, quick as you can, here. And he'd tell me on the phone as I'm driving. And I'd pull over and I'd say, hold on, mate, let me just write it down. There's no time, quick as you can. And I went, I can't do this. And I just went, no, mate, I'm sorry, I can't do this. And it was just went OTT. And I just said, look, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to leave. And that were it. I went down there, explained it to everybody, and then basically everything...
He surrendered his HGV licence. He surrendered that because he said, you know, and he said, I wouldn't feel safe doing that now. So
I think I did a year. Once you got your diagnosis, you do a year of grieving. You know, once people have told you, you have to tell yourself what's happened, how you are, and all this lot. And so I had a year of grieving, and everything went downhill. And then it just picked up. I just said, no, I'll not be beaten. You know what I mean? So it's like, you just got to keep this switched on constantly. Don't turn it off. Stay on your computer, learn words, learn like your camera and stuff like that. And I just stayed on it, and I just carried on, and I just don't switch it off now.
We've got good friends, haven't we? I mean, we've got Daryl and Jane, and Daryl goes off fishing for weekends with Terry, so they go off fishing. I spend time with Jane, and I think that's what it's about. If you've got good friends that understand and are prepared to work with you and that, and the family are good, aren't they? So, and I think it is a matter of keeping going, do your photography, do your things, and keep it active.
Just keep busy.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Yeah. There is light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.